Lucy Thomas first captured the hearts of audiences across the United Kingdom at just 14 years old with her unforgettable performances on The Voice Kids. Following her appearance on the show, Lucy was immediately offered a recording contract with Cavendish Records and released her debut album, Premiere, launching what has become an extraordinary international career. Today, Lucy is recognized around the world for her pure vocal tone, emotional artistry, and timeless musical style. She has released 6 highly acclaimed studio albums, built a global audience of more than 1 million YouTube subscribers, accumulated over 300 million YouTube views, and inspired more than 2 billion, that's billion with a B, views of videos featuring her music on TikTok. Earlier this year, Lucy added another remarkable milestone to her career by making her West End debut in the title role of Rosie at London's historic Adelphi Theatre. Lucy demonstrated her versatility as both a singer and actress, earning widespread praise for her performance and marking an exciting new chapter in her career. Alongside her recording and theater work, Lucy continues to perform prestigious concerts, private engagements, and international events, establishing herself as one of the most exciting young vocal talents of her generation. With her unique ability to connect with audiences through both classical crossover and contemporary music, Lucy's career continues to go from strength to strength as she reaches new audiences around the globe. I'm so excited for our conversation, and it's an honor to have her on the show. Welcome, Lucy, and thanks for joining us on Life Excellence.
Well, thank you for having me. What an introduction. I was
Well,
listening to some of that. It's easy to forget what these figures and stuff. But yeah, no, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here and to chat to you again.
Thank you. It's exciting to have you. It's great to see you again. Of course, we first met recently on Necker Island in the British Virgin Islands, and I was there attending an event, and you were invited to perform. And I have to say, your performances there were definitely among the highlights of my time on Necker. And we also had the opportunity to sit together at dinner that first evening, and I really enjoyed getting to know you. And I'm so excited for our audience to get to know you as well. Let's start out. Tell us about your childhood. When did you, or maybe it was someone around you, first realize that singing might become much bigger than just something you love to do?
Yeah, so I grew up in quite a musical household. My mum, who you've also met, loves to sing. And I mean, my granddad was in a band playing the drums. My uncle is amazing on the guitar, and he has a beautiful voice. Obviously now I have, well, my sister, and she can sing too. So it was very within the family that music was always being played. And I feel like all singers say it, but I really do think that I was singing before I could speak. And you know, the baby monitors that you put one in the room where the parents are and one where the baby's sleeping, so you can keep checking. Apparently, I would always sing through that. So so I think I really was singing from being literally a baby. And then I would always be putting on performances in the house and wanting everybody to sit and watch me sing. And it would always be like some Disney song. And then it kind of, like, the first real thing was at my nana's birthday party. I think it will be her 60th, and there was a band on, and I got up and said to the band, can I sing a song, please? And so I sung an Adele song, and this was before anyone really in the room knew much, and everyone kind of stopped and was like, oh, she's actually pretty decent. And so my godmother said to my mum, you should get her some singing lessons, because she clearly loves it and she's actually good. And so I did, and had singing lessons for 7 years from that point, every single week, and loved it. And usually you get the kids that put up a fight to go to an extra curriculum activity, you know. And I did piano lessons too, and I did put up a fight for that, but I never put up a fight to go to my singing lessons. I just loved it. So it really was just something that was naturally there, that, and it still doesn't feel like a job. It's a hobby, and it has remained that way. So I'm very lucky in that sense that it was just, I was just born with it really, and I have put in a lot of hard work over the years, but it was definitely something that was given to me.
So you went from performing in front of baby monitors to now performing on stages around the world. What a great story. Looking back on your life growing up, were there particular artists or genres that stood out for you? What influences shaped you as a young artist?
Yeah, so I was trained classically and did my musical grade exam. So that would mean singing in different languages from being really young, and you had to do all sorts of genres. But for me, and it's quite funny really, because this will have been at the time I was at primary school, and all my friends were. I remember One Direction, who I do love by the way, but them being the band at the time, and all of my friends were into that, and Katy Perry and stuff, whereas I was fixated on Barbara Streisand and like Eva Cassidy. I remember being one too. They were huge influences for me, like even from being seven or eight, that's who I would pick to be listening to. So I think I, from a young age, had quite a an older kind of ear. You could say it was less poppy. It was more, but I think because I was just so interested in vocally, they stood out to me. But Eva Cassidy, one of the first songs that I ever covered was "Songbird" by her, and I mean it's a tragedy what happened to her, but she really inspired me from a young age. And then I remember watching X Factor and Leona Lewis when she was on there. She then became my next idol. So it's all those kind of the big singers and the timeless classic songs that are still very much with me now, even however many years on. But yeah, that's definitely it. But to be honest, throughout my whole life, I've been interested in all sorts of music, and I'll listen to pretty much any genre and enjoy it. And that's the truth. It's just music for me.
Well, you've had so many wonderful models for success, and you're an incredible student as well. Lucy, I've had the privilege, as we talked about, of seeing you perform live on Necker. And I've also listened to a lot of your music in preparing for this show. I actually went back and watched your audition on The Voice Kids. And what struck me wasn't just your voice, it was your poise. At only 13 years old, and I know you turned 14 during that time on The Voice Kids. But at just 13 years old, you look completely at home on that stage. It was the most amazing thing. How did you end up on the show? And what was it like walking onto that stage, knowing the judges couldn't see you? They're all turned, the three judges are turned with their backs to you, which had to have been an interesting experience, and probably different than anything you had ever experienced prior to that.
Honestly, just thinking about it now, I can feel like goosebumps, because I would definitely put that down to being one of my scariest moments of my life, walking onto that stage. And I remember that walk from the back of the stage to the cross in the centre, being long. But that being said, I look back at that experience really, really fondly. And a lot of people might not know this, but I auditioned to be on Britain's Got Talent at the exact same time as The Voice Kids, and got through on both basically, and then had the decision to make. And I actually remember us having to sign like the contract that I was going to be on the show, and we were sat in the car, me and mum, and had both both in our hands, and it was really to the last second. We didn't know which show, because I knew that BGT might have brought a little bit more exposure because it was slightly bigger than The Voice Kids, but we decided with The Voice Kids, and I'm really pleased with that, because the treatment that I got as being a 13-year-old girl who I wasn't totally confident, and although you might say that I looked maybe calm and collected. I was quite an anxious young girl, and I mean, like most, but I struggled at that time. I was very always worrying about what other people thought of me, and yeah, I was also very mature too. So I was such a deep thinker. So picking the Voice Kids, I think, was definitely the right choice because they really, really looked after me. And I had a lovely chaperone, a lovely vocal coach on the show as well, who I'm still in touch with now, a lady called Jay. And I had a really great time. I made friends, obviously, Will Callan, who I'm very good friends with, who I was in Rosie with earlier this year, the musical. So we've stayed in touch, and it definitely kind of set my career off in a really nice, gentle way. Because the year before the year that I went on, they did get in touch to see if I would consider it that year. And I decided, even though in a 12-year-old girl's mind being on the TV and going into school and probably looking cool and stuff, that would be the ideal. I knew that I wasn't ready for that, and I didn't do it. And luckily they got back in touch the following year, and I thought, right, I've come on a lot in the last year, and I think I'm ready to do something like this. And obviously my amazing family were behind me every step of the way. And yeah, that was that, and I loved it, and really do look back on it with great memories.
Well, the way you describe the experience is really a testament to your poise and your maturity beyond your years. That's something that really stood out to me immediately when we started talking at dinner on Necker. And you're right. You did look so poised, but just me watching that, I had anxiety is the wrong word, but just excitement and all kinds of feelings
Yeah.
with you walking on the stage. And that's really, I watch some of those shows, and every time you watch that, you see these performers come on stage, and they might be young or they might be older, and they're just, you certainly can't judge a book by its cover, right? There are some people that walk on and you think, oh my goodness, what's this person going to do? And then he starts singing or she starts performing,
Yeah.
and we're just amazed by that. But I actually like those butterflies of stepping onto the stage, even if you're really comfortable, even if you're really confident. I always want to have butterflies, and to me that means that I care very much about the
Exactly.
performance and want to do very well. I'm not singing, obviously.
Yeah, I was gonna say, even though it's
Yeah,
different,
you don't want me to sing. I'm talking about speaking, or
yeah.
mainly speaking. But there's actually a great video showcasing your experience on The Voice Kids, and we'll share it in our show notes. I'm sure you're familiar with it. Lucy, during your time on the show, you were called flawless, pure class, and the real deal. And you certainly, and it was very clear in watching this video, and I encourage everybody listening or watching this show to go into the show notes and watch this video. It's about, I think it's 22 minutes, but you captivated the judges and the audience, and you reached the semifinals of that competition. Looking back now, and it's almost, I guess about 8 years or so, 8, 9 years, what did the Voice Kids teach you, not just about performing, but about yourself?
Yeah, it's a great question. I One thing it definitely taught me was to always think of the bigger picture in life. And Jay, who I was just talking about, my vocal coach on the show, she really instilled that into my brain throughout the process. She was like, when one door closes, another one opens. And although I got to the semi-finals and I was thrilled with that, I honestly didn't believe that I was even going to get through the first stage where they turn the chairs for you. So reaching the semi-finals was incredible, but I would be lying if I said that at 13 I didn't feel totally low after being knocked out of the show for some reason. And I wish I could go back and say to her, like, look, you've done amazingly. You didn't need to get into the final or win it. But I think as I kept getting through to the next stage, I started kind of seeing the end in reach. So it taught me to it taught me a lot of resilience because, like I mentioned, I remember waking up at my uncle's house the following day after it had been filmed and I had been knocked out. And I remember waking up thinking that it was a bad dream. And I had a couple of bad days where I was kind of embarrassed to have been knocked out of a show. Um, like I said, I was a deep thinker and, well, a little bit of a perfectionist too, even at a young age. Things I just wish, like I said, I could go back and tell young Lucy that not everything has to be perfect. Not everything's going to go amazingly well and how exactly that you want it. But I, after a few days, thought, right, I'm going to I'm going to continue I always feel bad saying show them because there's nothing wrong with being knocked out at that stage, but I've got a bit of a fire within me and a fight to carry on and push through, even though I felt really rubbish about it all. So it definitely taught me resilience and a bravery, and I do look back and I think I struggle equally with that now, even after 8 years of experience and more singing. I think how little Lucy did that and walked onto that stage. I think it was really brave. But other than that, the friends that I made, the people that I met, and being the compliments that I received and how I was described, which, like you said, flawless, which it definitely wasn't the case. But again, I was young and stuff, and I mean, I struggle to listen to the audition because I'm like, oh, but it was the nerves, I think. Um, but yeah, so many things. It was definitely the start for me of what is an amazing journey and career so far, and I'm loving it.
Absolutely. And I would define your experience on The Voice Kids as a phenomenal success. And I would have been surprised had you said you weren't completely devastated being knocked out because you wanted to do well. The energy had to have been building. So you auditioned and you were accepted, and then you stepped onto the stage, and then they all turned around and praised you, and rightfully so. And then at each step along the way, you had to have been building confidence, building belief, certainly building excitement and wanting to do well. And so to not go all the way and win, of course you would be disappointed. I
Yeah.
would think anybody would be disappointed. And your vocal coach Jay is absolutely right that when one door closes, another opens. And Lucy, almost overnight, your life changed. You signed a recording contract, as I mentioned in your introduction. You've released 6 albums and suddenly had a worldwide audience almost overnight, partially because of the exposure on The Voice Kids, and then that exposure continued to grow through the years. What was that transition actually like behind the scenes?
Well, again, I'd love to say it was some crazy jump, but in the best way possible, it was pretty gradual. And I loved school. I was really interested in school, and I'd go back to school tomorrow, honestly speaking. I really enjoyed it. And also, again, with confidence growing very, very slowly over those years, I was not 100% sure that this was definitely going to be the right career for me. Because at that time, anyway, I still saw it as just a hobby and something that I was naturally pretty good at, that I enjoyed doing. So I wasn't totally sure. And the thing that I'd say above most things that well, one of the top things that I'm most grateful for basically is how how much they just let me live my young years, and I wasn't pushed to do anything. I wasn't forced. And I truly think that's why I still love it so much now, is because I always had choice, and it was very, very gradual, very kind to me, if that makes sense. That I just was able to do it when I wanted it, have a break if I needed a break. I was really respected within the record label, and whilst being so young, releasing albums, the pressure could have been huge, but in fact, it just felt really natural. And yeah, it's amazing to have seen it really just gradually increase over 8 years or so now, which is crazy to say. But yeah, so I mean, I think the pivotal moment was when Hallelujah was released on YouTube, and that kind of went a little bit viral, and this is something crazy like 70 million views now, I think.
That's just a
And
little bit viral.
just a little bit viral.
I love the way you play that down. It just went a little bit viral.
Yeah, I still don't have confidence in myself, clearly. I Yeah, and I think that was kind of the main thing that catapulted me and opened up a lot of opportunities. And most people kind of, if people know me, it's often off that video, that cover on YouTube. But other than that, I mean, I've just been treated my whole career with kindness and respect, and I've always been put first, for how I was feeling, which is something I'll really forever be grateful for. And like I said, I think that's the reason I'm still doing it now, is because I've
Well, and
just got happiness
yeah,
associated with it.
and you mentioned how you've been treated. To me, that's a testament to how you treat others, and that it has come across very clearly in getting to know you.
Thank you,
Lucy,
Brian. Same goes. I mean, I was actually introduced, well, you were introduced to me as being one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. And because I remember being on the island, and I thought with my mum there, well, we'll be sat next to each other at dinner. And I was looking around trying to find my name at the table, and I was like, oh, I'm not sat with mum, but I'm sat next to a Brian. And someone said, you're in great company. And that was totally true. And I just wanted to say that to you. And yeah, it was a pleasure. And then obviously getting to know each other for the days after that too, and then making this happen. So right back at you, basically. And thank you.
I appreciate that. Thank you for those kind words, and it was wonderful to, as I said earlier, to get to know you right away, and it really just laid the context for a wonderful time on Necker. Lucy, and I enjoyed not only getting to know you, but also your mom, and you have an incredible support structure in your family. I know that your mom and your dad, who I haven't met, your granddad, and your entire family. I know they're behind you 100%, and it's wonderful to have that kind of support structure at home.
Yeah, absolutely. I would be nowhere without them. And yeah, they keep me completely grounded. And I'm such a family girl. Family is so important, and friends. And I mean, there's not many days that go by that I'm not. I mean, I live now on my own. I've moved out of my family home, but I'd say I'm there for my dinner maybe 5 times a week. And partly because I'm not a great cook, but also mainly because I enjoy being with them and spending time with them. And oh, I'm just so lucky. My mum and dad, in particular, have obviously invested in so much time into me and taken me to these singing lessons, and to meet different people, and even now like flying to different countries with me, and they love it. Don't get me wrong; they are thrilled to be part of it and are so pleased for me. And but it's down to them that I'm where I am, and I'm totally aware of that. And it's kind of like just my life goal now. I mean, I'm so happy with life. I love life. I've got great friends, great family, like I said, and I'm doing what I love, which is really kind of all that matters. And I'm healthy and happy. So now for me, it's just a case of making them happy, and they are, but continuing to and looking after them. That's kind of, I owe it back to them now, and I'm slowly getting to that point where they, well, I am helping to look after them, but I'm still the little girl, and I still need them more than ever. As you saw on Necker with Mum being there, we are super super close, and I'm just so lucky and grateful to have such amazing people around me.
You have a wonderful life and you have such an incredible outlook on life. And I really appreciate that about you. You mentioned being grounded, and I was going to ask you about that. Lucy, a couple things I noticed immediately when I met you were your maturity, and I talked about that already, and also how grounded you are in spite of your success. Having met your mom, I know your family helps keep you grounded, and we just talked about that. But what else helps you stay grounded as you travel and receive praise from millions of people around the world?
Yeah, I think I kind of struggle even answering questions about it, because it really, I'm just me. And I live by that. And I remember coming onto Necker Island, and I knew who I was going to be around. Obviously, we were able to read about each other beforehand, and I honestly felt overwhelmed going there, because I was just surrounded by success. And but I kind of just thought, if I step onto the island and just offer a, a listening ear and a smile and to be kind, then what can go wrong, even if you're the person that knows the least on the island, which I think I probably was.
I'm not sure about that.
But I just think I really would put it down to the people I surround myself with, and just not taking life too seriously. It is what it, but I find it pretty easy because I think also I truly don't actually look at myself. I'm proud of myself, don't get me wrong. I think I've done put in some hard work, and I've faced a lot of fears and stuff, but I never look at myself and think, oh, you've made it. Like, I just think I'm just a girl who's just going down this crazy path of life and trying her best. And things are working, and sometimes things don't. Sometimes you hear things you don't want to hear, but it's all part of it. And yeah, I think just being kind and listening to other people, it doesn't matter how much or little you know, you that's all you need to offer in life, I believe. So if I follow that, I kind of feel like it just, yeah, it comes the, to be grounded.
It definitely does. That's a pretty good prescription for life. Lucy, one thing I've noticed is that everyone wants the success, but very few people are willing to do what it takes to achieve that success. What are some of the skills you've spent years developing, and some of the sacrifices that you've made that most people will never see?
Well, yeah, I think even being at primary school, and I'd be missing out on birthday parties on a Saturday going swimming. I remember we all used to have parties at swimming pools and stuff, and I would often have to miss out on those to go and sing at an event, which, although I actually don't ever feel like was too much hard work for me, really. But yeah, I think I have had to sacrifice a lot and sacrifice time with friends and also family events too. I mean, I actually missed out on my granddad's 80th birthday party very recently, which I know we'll talk about, but I was in Alaska and it was for an amazing reason for sure. But even just missing out on things like that are huge sacrifices to me. But skills, yeah, just going back to before, just being open-minded and interested. And I kind of have adopted this way of thinking literally this year, into just saying yes to pretty much everything, obviously, that's going to be good for you. Even if things, you learn a lesson and you think, oh, that wasn't necessarily for me, but hey, I learned this and I met that person, and that's totally fine, even if you didn't totally enjoy it. So that's something that I've definitely took on board, is to just throw myself into life. It's for living, isn't it? And to have no regrets too, along the way, I think is also important.
How has that impacted you? What have you learned by saying yes? And you said it's this year, so if it was the beginning of the year, then we're halfway into the year, I guess. But what insight have you gained from that philosophy or that shift in approach to life?
Well, I've met people that I wouldn't have met if I hadn't been brave. I think I've never been. I've struggled with confidence throughout the years of singing, and I mean, I have told this story, but I had the pleasure of meeting Cliff Richard. It'll have been a couple of years ago now, and I was so nervous all the time singing that I kind of thought in my head, I don't know if I can do this forever, because it really consumed me and would make me kind of unwell, really, because I got myself so worked up. And I said to him, does it ever get any easier? Because obviously he's been doing it for enough time to give me a good answer. And he said, honestly, no. He said, you learn to deal with it, but it doesn't get easier. And I was like, in the moment, I was like, great, wrong answer, Cliff. But
Not the one
it's,
you're hoping to hear for sure.
yeah, it's true. Like you do just learn. And I think I've matured a lot in literally over the last year too. Obviously now, like, even just in day-to-day life, like living on my own now. And I think also just being okay with not always getting things right, and not always being perfect, not always like winning at things or having to be the best. That's definitely something like this year that I've learned and I've become totally fine with. Not that I did win everything, obviously, but that would have been my sole kind of mission, was to be the very, very best. And I think life gets a lot easier when obviously you strive to be as good as you can possibly be, but to accept that not everything is going to be perfect and go amazingly. And some, for instance, to relate it, some gigs are going to go better than others, and some I'll walk away from and think, gosh, I didn't sing that as well as I know that I could have done. And whereas that would have eaten me alive a year ago, now I'm okay with it, and I think, well, that's fine. I gave it my best shot, and next time will be better. And I mean, and also, not that anyone would even notice anyway, but this is me. How I'm speaking now is just showing me that how much growth I've actually done, because I just wouldn't have thought this way last year. So, and I do put that down to experience of meeting people and the conversations that I had on Neck. I mean, that it was really honestly one of the most life-changing experiences for me ever. And I just thought that I was going to just sing a couple of songs and, you know, be on the Caribbean, a beautiful Caribbean island. Like I thought I'm not going to be able to offer much. And obviously we had great conversations, and I met so many other amazing people. So all of these things are just is what's changing me for the better, and that's by just saying yes. Not that I would have said no to this experience anyway, because funny story, I actually Mum and I were heading to London that day, and I picked her up to go to the train station, and she got in the car and she said, "Have you seen the email of where you've been invited to sing?" And I had seen it. It was because the first thing I do in the morning is check my emails, and I read it that morning by myself and was like, that's not true. Like that's somebody having a laugh, because there is a lot of that, lots of emails that people trying to trick you, basically. Anyway, I said to Mum in the car, I said, "Mum, come on." I said, "That's not true." She said, "It is. No, it really is." Anyway, it took me a lot of it took a lot of convincing to bring me round to it. But that was how I actually was initially introduced to the idea of, well, to being invited to perform on Necker. But like I said, one of the most amazing experiences ever, literally. It's emotional to think about.
Well, it is, and it's that kind of experience, I think, for everyone who gets to visit Necker. And
Yeah.
just so you know, in that particular visit, you made an indelible impression on everyone who was on the island. So
Thank
thank
you.
you for that. Lucy, you have such an amazing voice, and our listeners and viewers will get a chance to hear some of your music on the show. When someone hears you sing for the very first time, what do you hope they experience emotionally?
Great question. I think with the types of songs that I sing, they're often quite a lot of heartbreak, ballads, and like I said, timeless classics. And I think it takes people back to a certain time in their life, good or bad. The main thing I want to do is to allow the person listening to express their emotion that they feel in that moment. And that was something I was told a lot on Necker after I'd performed. People said, "Oh, I listened to that Barbra Streisand song growing up, and you took me right back to those memories." Yeah, it's more to me than just vocally impressing someone and being able to hit a high note. I think, yeah, to get somebody to really feel the words, the music, and to take them back to a time, or that is kind of my aim. And I get told a lot that I'm able to help people through loss, or well, just really tough times, and to be told that really like kind of reminds me why I do this. And the amount of emails and lovely comments that I get on videos on YouTube and across all social media, where someone said, "Hey Lucy, I just want you to know that you got me through the loss of my mum." And that then to me just shows me why I do what I do. And if I can help someone, then what more could you want, really? But yeah, I think the answer to that would just be to just allow somebody to feel a certain way and take them back. That's what I aim to do. Yeah. And I mean, it's probably a lot down to the song, don't get me wrong, and the words of the song, but yeah, it's a really beautiful thing as musicians. We are able to do, whether it be a singer or, well, it'd be not even just musicians, but it's a great thing to be able to do. Um, yeah.
Absolutely. Lucy, as you know, our show is called Life Excellence. You've pursued excellence from a remarkably young age, and I'm curious, what does excellence mean to you?
Excellence. Well, excellence means to me It sounds like I'm just saying right now everything that someone would want to hear, but I truly just think it means being a good person. Um, Excellence to me isn't about hitting goals, I mean, it is in some aspects, but the true meaning of excellence to me is just to be yourself, be a great person, be happy. And I think you're achieving excellence if you are going about your life and having a good impact on the world and on other people and making yourself happy at the same time. And I think then that's excellent.
I totally agree. That's a great definition of excellence. Lucy, you recently stepped outside your comfort zone. You've been talking the whole time about you being outside your comfort zone, starting at the age of 13 and maybe even before that. But you recently made your West End acting debut in Rosie.
Mm.
I know you've been saying yes to things, but what made you say yes to acting? And how did preparing for a theatrical role differ from preparing for a concert performance, which is not unrelated, but really different? That was definitely a stretch for you, wasn't it?
Yeah. Um, so I've been involved in Rosie the musical from literally as soon as I came off The Voice Kids. So the record label that I'm signed to, called Cavendish Records, Chris Broom, who owns Cavendish, he wrote Rosie the musical, and he one of the very first things I did straight off the show was record one of the songs from the musical, and I think I just fell into the role of Rosie. I loved the music, and what was really nice is that I actually kind of grew up with the role for over 8 years. And as I got older, I'd take on the more challenging songs from the musical. And I think Chris just believed that I was right for Rosie, really. And I think the story that it follows too is kind of similar to me. She's a girl who longed to be on the West End stage, didn't have a whole lot of confidence within herself. So it was a really nice character to play. But I definitely say, yeah, the preparation and the lead up to it was amazing, very, very stressful. I learned more about myself in those few weeks than I have in years, probably. I, because yeah, I'd never acted before, really. I mean, I'd done very few auditions in my young years. I remember I auditioned to be Matilda in the West End when I was maybe 12. And I was part of the school productions. But other than that, no acting experience. So the pressure that I felt was huge, and I did struggle. I'd be lying if I said I didn't really feel the pressure. But when I got to London and started the rehearsals, and I was met with the rest of the cast who had all had plenty of experience, they all did nothing but make me feel like worthy of having this role and confident. Actually, they every single day people, and these were people that had been on the West End multiple times, and they were like, you're really doing an amazing job, like you've got a massive like role on your hands, not no experience at all. And they just filled me with so much confidence. And I mean, I really would have struggled if it wasn't for the people that I had around me. But I loved it. That's the other thing. I also didn't know if I was going to totally enjoy it because, like you said, out of my comfort zone. And I thought, oh, I'm going to struggle with this. And I just want to stick to the singing, please. But I came away from the experience and would absolutely love to do more, which I'd say was the kind of turning point where I thought, why would I say no to something? Because I didn't expect to love this experience quite so much. And that was the moment for me that I thought, you just don't know what you are going to love. So why not try? Um, anyway, it went amazingly well, and the relief that I felt was huge. But I miss it. I miss the experience. I miss the people. Um, so who knows what is in store for the future, whether with regards to Rosie or me, one day maybe playing a different role in a musical. Um, I'm not sure yet, but I it was an incredible experience. I don't know how good my acting is. People said it was fine, and I held my own and I did a great job. But honestly speaking, I'm not too sure.
Well, I think you're being modest because the acclaim was actually very positive. And
Yeah,
so that's yet another example of you stretching yourself and saying yes to something, moving outside your comfort zone, and actually responding quite well to that. And
it's so
that
important to push yourself, because if too many years go by where you're just doing just playing it safe almost, then you don't better yourself as a result of that. So it's so important to try new things and not always go into something knowing that you're going to smash it.
That's very true. Speaking of stretching yourself, while we were together on Necker, I watched something fascinating happen. A couple days into our trip, you were invited by Sir Richard Branson to perform on an Alaskan cruise.
Yeah.
And that cruise was setting sail just a couple days after you learned about it. Tell us, and you actually mentioned Alaska a little bit earlier, and
Yeah.
so I wanted to be sure and ask you about it. Tell us how that opportunity came together, because it was amazing to have a front row seat into that happening.
Yeah, I on the very first night I performed one song, didn't I, at the welcome dinner. And it was a song from Rosie the Musical, actually. It's We Can Change the World. Beautiful song with an amazing meaning behind it, basically. And I thought it'd be perfect. And so Richard was there, and congratulated me afterwards. And we were sat across from him, really, weren't we, at the table? He was asking me a few questions. And I mean, it was a massive, again, a massive pressure having to sing that. Sat with everybody who was there, who so many influential, incredible, successful people. But obviously, with Sir Richard being there, I was like, okay, I have to do a good job of this. But a couple of days later, I was getting off the boat from the island we were staying on with Mum, and he said, he said, I've been meaning to have a word. Just follow me. And so me and Mum were following. And also, the funniest bit of this was that my luggage had not arrived with me on this trip. So I was in, this sounds crazy, I was in my pajamas getting off this boat with Sir Richard, stood there saying, come with me, I've got a question to ask. He said, this is crazy. The reason I said that is just because it just makes the situation funnier. And when I look back, I think, I mean, if that opportunity came from something that would have been my worst nightmare, not having my nice dresses and makeup and stuff. He said, this might be crazy, but it's Virgin's first ever cruise to Alaska, and we're going basically in 2 days' time. I would love you to come along and sing for the people on the boat. And I was like, wait, what? Yeah. I was like, I'd absolutely love to. I mean, I just jumped to say yes. At the time, my sister was doing her GCSEs here at home, and my mum had been away, obviously, on this trip, and thought, I can't leave her doing all of those exams. I mean, she had my dad, but Mum thought, no, I need to be a good mum and go back. And so my dad and Mum actually switched over, and Dad came and met me in Seattle, where we got onto the cruise. Anyway, so oh, what? Just, it feels funny to even talk about because what an incredible story and experience. Um, and got to know Richard over that week of being on the cruise, and all I can say is if I wasn't a super fan of Richard before, I totally am like now, because the way that he is, the person that he is, the way he is with other people is totally inspirational, and I mean you'll agree and know is it's just admirable. And so above anything, I just felt so lucky to see that, and yeah, I sung and it all went really well, and we've stayed in touch too. And he said to me, he said, I wish I was still in the music industry. And I was thinking, I wish you were too.
Right.
But he has taught me a lot and is offering any advice that he can possibly give to me and any help, and I'm just so grateful for that. And it was my first ever cruise actually as well. I hadn't ever been on a cruise, and loved it. And again, I mean, made great friends with the group of us that were on there, and my dad too, he loved it. So these things just incredible opportunities. I've definitely, I mean, it was May that we were in both Necker and Alaska. One of the best months of my life. Pretty
It's a
hard to
pretty good
beat.
month. Pretty good month for you.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, so good.
Well, that it's such a great experience, and I appreciate you sharing the story. And it's really a great illustration of how opportunities often come through relationships. What have you learned? So you've had some really great experiences with people this year, and again going back through the years of your career. What have you learned, Lucy, about the importance of putting yourself in rooms with exceptional people?
Yeah, it's what do they say? It's not what you know, it's who you know. And that's totally true. Um, oh, so important. I mean, whether it just be a friendly relationship that you make, and you just enjoy spending time with that person, or if you meet somebody that can help you in some sort of way career wise. But either way, it's the most important thing in life, I think, is to surround yourself with good people who, and like I said, not necessarily can only help for a reason, to just have, and just know, is so important too. Um, I wouldn't be really anywhere if it wasn't for people that I've met along the way, and um, yeah, I owe it to people around me that have helped me get to where I've got, and the opportunities and experiences that I've experienced are off the back of meeting people who might know somebody else who, and that was the really lovely thing on Necker as well, is that once we'd made like friends with everybody, people just wanted to help each other, and so they'd be saying, oh, I've got a friend who knows somebody who might be able to help you, and I'll give you their. Everyone was just so wanting to help each other, um, which was really, really beautiful, and overwhelming too. Um, but yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be here chatting to you right now, for instance, and so it's the most important thing. And yeah, to make those relationships, you need to be kind and nice and a good person. So I think that is the route to success. I honestly think.
I interrupted you. I think we can all say that we are where we are today because of people who we've met along the way, and
Yeah.
and the influence they've had on us, and hopefully the influence we've had on them too. And I really appreciate our connection and our
I do.
friendship. I'm so excited for the upward trajectory of your career and to be able to see that. And I look forward to more discussions with you. Lucy, thanks so much for our time together today. It's
Oh,
wonderful to see you again. It's been an absolute joy, and I really appreciate you joining me on the show.
it's a real privilege, honestly, to be on Life Excellence and to chat to you as a friend. But yeah, I'm totally in awe of you as a person and your success, and very grateful to have chatted today. And I look forward to the next time because I'm sure there will be.
I hope so, and I hope it comes soon. And that's very nice of you to say those wonderful things. You're very kind, Lucy.
Well, thank you, you too. Everything that you filled me with a great deal of confidence. So thank you.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for tuning in to Life Excellence. Please support the show by subscribing, sharing it with others, posting about today's show with Lucy Thomas on social media, and leaving a rating and review. You can also learn more about me at brianbartes.com. Until next time, dream big dreams and make each day your masterpiece.